What's up, everybody? So I'm coming to you today with another 2020 year-end top 10. This one's on the 168-pound super middleweight division, one of my top 5 divisions in boxing. It's kind of top-heavy, but it does have some good fighters in it, you know, and we're going to jump right in. Again, guys, if you like these videos, hit that thumbs up, you know, subscribe to my channel, and I got a lot more content, and I really enjoy boxing. I love boxing. It's my passion, and I really enjoy expressing my opinion and talking about it and studying up on it. So, you know, if you do that, I really appreciate it. So let's jump into the guys that dropped out. There's only one. It's former world title challenger Avni Yildirim. Now, Yildirim previously was number 9. He didn't fight at all this year. He hasn't fought since February of 2019 when he suffered that controversial loss to Anthony Durrell. Injuries have kept him out of the ring and waiting around for his mandatory title shot. He's currently the WBC's number 2 contender, but in reality, he's the mandatory challenger. And it looks like the end of February, maybe, the end of February, he might be getting the golden ticket fight he's been waiting for. And it's going to be against pound-for-pound king Canelo Alvarez, who's the new WBC champion. There's a lot of talks that fight's going to take place at the end of February. There was talks about Mexico. They're talking about it possibly not being in Mexico now, but it looks like that fight's going to happen. So Yildirim, a strong performance could at least get him in the top 10, and he has a chance of beating the pound-for-pound king, you know, which I don't think he stands a chance to do that, but with the opportunity, you have a chance. So you never know. So, you know, a good performance could at least keep him in the top 10 and give him a little bit more of his career if he could look decent against Canelo. So we'll see. Okay, now we jump into the top 10. First up, number 10, dropping 3 spots from number 7 is former IBF champion, 37-year-old Caleb Truax. Well, Truax was trying to bounce back in 2020 after an injury-prone 2019, and he only was able to fight once. But he has a golden opportunity coming his way January 30th. He takes on undefeated IBF champion Caleb Plant for that title. It's on PBC, and this is probably his last stand right here. You know, he's fought for titles before. He upset James DeGale in 2017 and fought a war with him in 2018 when he lost the title back. But Truax, this is his moment right here. His last probably stand at a serious title shot. Personally, I think he's going to get his ass whipped, but he's done it before. You know, that was the upset of the year when he beat James DeGale in 2017. He's been there. He's done that. Caleb Plant's looking towards a possible Canelo fight this year. He's in a Canelo sweepstakes. He's the IBF champion. Could he overlook Caleb Truax? It's possible. We'll see. So January 30th on PBC. Next at number 9 is the former world title challenger John Ryder of the United Kingdom. He moves up 1 spot from number 10. He's 32 years old. He only fought one time when he took on some fighter named Mike Guy, some nobody, and got a lackluster 10-round unanimous decision. He was trying to get a rematch with Callum Smith, but Callum Smith was in the Canelo sweepstakes. But the one thing that he did service for himself is he moved himself in line for a vacant title shot. He's going to be fighting for the vacant WBA regular title next against Fedor Shudanov, the former champ. Canelo gave up that belt in order to fight for the super title against Callum Smith, so now the regular title's on the line. You know, if you're asking me on the spot, I'm going to favor John Ryder in that fight, but I really think Shudanov can beat him as well. It's going to be a close fight. But if Ryder is serious, if that wasn't just a fluke when he fought Callum Smith in 2019, then he's going to prove that against Shudanov. So he's got his opportunity to move himself into bigger fights if he can beat the former champ Shudanov. So we'll see. We don't have a date yet, but we know that fight's coming. Number 8 is contender Lionel Thompson. He remains number 8 from last year. 35 years old now. You know, Thompson upset Jose Ustadegui at the end of 2019 to burst into the top 10. He almost had a title shot with David Benavidez in April, but he got looked over for another opponent. But Thompson needs to try to just do what he can and get in the ring and stay busy this year. He needs to shake off that rust, Needs to try to capitalize on that upset win over Ustadagi. Not sure he's going to get much opportunity. Remember, he was a career light heavyweight that only got knocked out against Sergey Kovalev among his 5 losses. And then he comes down, and he's kind of an awkward fighter, so he's not the best matchup for anybody. You know, so we're going to see. I hope he gets some kind of opportunity because he deserves it after the win over Ustadagi, but we'll see what happens. Next at number 7 is former 2-time WBC champion Anthony Dirrell. He drops 1 spot from number 6. Dirrell didn't fight at all in 2020. He was an option for Canelo, but nothing ever came from that. We just heard that he was being, you know, talked about as one of the options. Nothing ever happened. Dirrell's 36 now. He's still the WBC's number 4 contender. I think he's trying to move straight into just a title shot or take on somebody big prior to a title shot. His problem is he fights for the PBC, and there's not a lot of big-name PBC fighters at 168. So unless he's willing to face David Benavidez in a rematch, if Benavidez even wants that fight, or take on Caleb Plant, if Plant even wants that fight, or fight Lionel Thompson, I'm not sure, outside of low-level opposition, who he's going to be able to get. So he's got to work himself back in line for a title shot this year. He's got to make a move if he plans on continuing to fight. So we'll see what he does. Next at number 6, and he drops 1 spot from number 5, is the undefeated IBF champion Caleb Plant. Plant only fought once in 2020 when he made a mandatory defense against Vincent Feigenbutz of Germany, and he dominated him with a 10th round TKO win. Now, you know, he's still undefeated, and he's 28 years old. He almost landed the Canelo fight in December, but the PBC, because I was a bowl Saturday, and because the PBC did not want to do another pay-per-view on top of the Errol Spence-Danny Garcia pay-per-view that was on the 5th, Canelo ended up moving on to DAZN and facing Callum Smith, but Plant almost landed the fight. He's one of 3 options to get either the May or September fight with Canelo. And now he's going to take on Caleb Truax at the end of January to shake off some rust. Former champion. It's good to get him on his resume, but he does not need to overlook Truax. Truax has played this role before. He knows how to win from this role. Plant needs to take it serious. He needs to dominate Truax and really make a statement of, hey, I'm here to fight and sell a Canelo fight, and he has an opportunity at the end of January. I think he breaks Truax down and stops him in the later rounds to retain his title. And I really think Canelo's seriously considering him because he has a world title. He's undefeated, yeah. He's an American, but he doesn't have a huge name. But the fact that he has a world title and Canelo wants to be undisputed, I think it's a very good chance Caleb Plant has of facing him. And if not, Canelo, the David Benavidez fight is still there, and it's still juicy, and people still want to see it. So he needs to win over Truax, which I think he will, and push forward towards the rest of 2021 of possibly Canelo or David Benavidez. Next at number 5, dropping 1 spot from number 4, is the undefeated WBO champion Billy Joe Saunders. Saunders is 31 now. He came back in December and fought once when he took on veteran Martin Murray, and he dominated Murray over 12 rounds. Murray way past his prime. It was his final title shot. He retired afterwards. Billy Joe looked good over 12 rounds. You know, as good as he was supposed to look. And, you know, Billy Joe in 2020 almost landed the Canelo fight a couple times. You know, certain issues, the coronavirus mainly, is what shut that fight down from happening. But now I'm hearing that he's one of 3 options for Canelo between May and September. That's from Canelo's team saying that. He holds a world title, which makes him an attractive fight for Canelo because Canelo wants to unify all the belts. He's got 2 of the belts. Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant hold the other 2. So I think, and there's talks about Billy Joe being the guy to fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend against Canelo. So, you know, Billy Joe has also talked about possibly fighting Demetrius Andrade or Danny Jacobs. This could be a very big year for Billy Joe and big opportunities. He needs to go get one of them. Canelo obviously is going to be first, but he was talking about possibly facing Andrade in February, in that area, February, March, before a May fight with Canelo. Not sure if that works out, that time frame, but he's talking hungry and he wants to fight. So I'm really hoping that these guys can get something done and he can get in the ring and prove how good he really is. And if not against Canelo, Danny Jacobs or Demetrius Andrade. He's got opportunity for big fights, or Triple G Gennady Golovkin at 168. Triple G, I think, is willing to move up and chase Canelo, you know, possibly later in the year. So Billy Joe's going to have opportunities. He needs to cash in on them. Next at number 4 is the undefeated and former 2-time WBC champion David Benavidez. He's 24. He lost his title due to not making weight. Disappointed a lot of people again. Benavidez needs to get back in the ring. If for some reason, the WBC is still ranking him number 1. I don't know why. He's a great fighter. I think he has a ton of potential, but he just is not dedicated and focused. He came in way overweight for the Romer Angulo title defense in August. The fight went forward, but he lost the title on the scales. He ended up scoring a 10th round TKO to stay undefeated. I mean, the guy's got a great record, 23-0, 20 knockouts. He's going to get opportunities, but he needs to be disciplined. There's talks of him coming back in February or March. I think it was March. He's going to be coming back to just stay busy, stay active. And I hope he gets a big win. He makes weight with ease, and he is focused, because I think Benavidez really could get a decent-sized fight this year. He possibly could get Caleb Plant for the IBF title, but he needs to be dedicated and focused and make weight, and he needs to get back in the mix for the world titles, which he has all the potential, and he's got the star power backing him up too, so we'll see what happens with him. Next at number 3 is the former champion, Callum Smith. He drops 2 spots from number 1. He's 30 years old now. He just, in my opinion, gave no effort against the pound-for-pound king, Canelo Alvarez, in December. He was fighting to defend his belt, but also to capture the WBC belt. And, you know, this was the opportunity he'd been waiting all year for, and the last couple of years. And he's been calling out Canelo and all the big-name fighters, and he laid an egg. I know Canelo, he was you're intimidated. Canelo's good, but when you're 7 inches taller and you have that reach, you got to go for it. You got to throw jabs. You got to try to box, and he just laid an egg, and he got his ass whipped and lost a one-sided decision. Now for Callum Smith, he's with Eddie Hearn and DAZN. There are fighters there. He might have opportunities, but it's going to be a long road back, and I think he should also consider moving up to 175 with his size. They might have better chances of landing fights up there. So we'll see what happens, but definitely going to be a bounce-back year for Callum Smith, and we might not see him fight at least the first half of the year. We'll see. Next at number 2, remaining at number 2, is 33-year-old former 2-time middleweight champion Danny Jacobs. Jacobs returned in November, took on Gabriel Rosado, and just, man, he looked like shit. Like, he didn't even care in that fight. That was one of the worst performances I've seen all year out of anybody. And, you know, he escaped with a 10-round or 12-round split decision. And there's a lot of people that thought Rosado won the fight. It was controversial. I don't have a problem with Danny Jacobs winning because it was such an ugly fight on both sides. But, man, just a poor performance, and I'm very disappointed in him. But he needs to bounce back in a serious way. He's still got a big name. He's still, you know, he's the WBO's number 3 contender. He could definitely move into a final eliminator, possibly even get Billy Joe Saunders in the ring, depending on what happens with the Canelo situation and stuff. But he's going to have opportunities. He needs to cash in on one of them and prove how good he really is in 2021. We'll see what opportunities he gets, but he's got the name and the star power. And, you know, I'm hoping he does well and he performs well in 2021 and bounces back. And finally, at number 1, he wasn't ranked last year. He's ranked now. He's the pound-for-pound king of boxing, and now the unified WBA and WBC super middleweight champion, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo wasn't ranked at the beginning of the year here because he hadn't fought since December of 2018, and that was his only fight he ever had at 168. You know, he moved to 175 and won a title. He moved back down to 160. He moved back down to 160, actually, to unify middleweight belts in 2019, and then moved all the way up to 175 to capture a belt. So, you know, I didn't rank him at all, but he made it clear that he was returning to 168. He lobbied for fights with Ryota Murata and Billy Joe Saunders. Finally, he wanted Caleb Plant, but that couldn't be worked out for pay-per-view. after he left his DAZN contract and left Golden Boy, his promotions. He's a free agent now. He can do what he wants. He chose to fight Callum Smith, and in one of the best performances of the year, he whipped Callum Smith's ass, and it didn't matter that Callum Smith was 7 inches taller and way longer reach. He just put it on Callum Smith, whipped his ass, one-sided 12-round unanimous decision, and is now the unified super middleweight champion. Well, going forward, he's going to have some options. Well, he has all the options in the world, but what he's looking at this year is most likely next at the end of February, and I'm waiting for this fight to be announced, he's going to make a mandatory defense against Avni Yildirim, who's the mandatory challenger. Originally, they were talking about Mexico. Now that doesn't look likely. I'm thinking San Antonio, Texas again. They're gonna fight, and he'll have somewhat of a crowd there, and he will knock Yildirim out. And then there's 3 options on the table for 2 fights in May and September. And this is Eddie Reynoso, his team talking. It looks like Billy Joe Saunders could be lined up for May to unify belts. And then it looks like maybe Caleb Plant for September. Now, Triple G, a 3rd fight with him is also an option. And I wouldn't be surprised if Triple G takes on the champion that Canelo doesn't fight. You know, but Triple G right now, Golden Boy has said that Triple G is talking about possibly fighting Jaime Munguia next. So right now it's up in the air. Everything's up in the air. We really don't know what's going to happen, but we definitely could be seeing, you know, Canelo's going to be in some big fights, and he could unify all the belts at 168 by the end of the year, or we could be seeing him in Triple G. I'm going to say Jamal Charlo could be possible also this year. I think Canelo might invite him up from 160 and take him on as another option. So that kind of throws 4 options on the table. But I think Charlo and Benavidez and guys like that, those might be 2022 options. I think Canelo wants to become the undisputed super middleweight champion, and I think he has a line to do it, a roadmap to do it. And I think he's going to try to get that done. But I also think Triple G is an option. And, you know, Triple G might not. He might be a 2022 option, but Canelo has confirmed at least 3 times in 2021 we'll see him fight, and that's huge, especially him being a free agent. It's going to be fun to see if he signs a contract or if he just one fight at a time does it. And either way, he's going to make a lot of money, and he's going to keep us during the pandemic interested and excited because Canelo has proven the last 2 years why he is the best and the pound-for-pound king of boxing right now. So boxing is exciting. The super middleweight division is exciting because Canelo's in it and because there's some good undefeated fighters and champions there. You're going to want to check it out in 2021 for sure. So, and we could be seeing also Jamal Charlo, Triple G, and Demetrius Andrade moving up, trying to chase Canelo fights and fight some of the other big dogs in those divisions. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.